everybody has crushes. But I did. Yet, when I was a kid, I never once saw a story about the kind of crushes that I had. I didn't even know someone like me could exist. And that was kind of awful. So, I wrote a story called Love, Violet, just for you.
Love, Violet. Words by Charlotte Sullivan Wild. Pictures by Charlene Chua. As far as Violet was concerned, only one person in her class raced like the wind. Only one had a leaping laugh. Only one made Violet's heart skip. Mira. Every day, Violet dreamed of astounding Mira with heroic feats and bringing her treasures and galloping off together on adventures. But whenever Mira came near, "What are you drawing, Violet? Want to play horses, Violet? Where's Violet? We're line buddies today." Violet went shy. One wintry day, Violet had an idea. An idea with crayons and scissors, glitter and glue. When it was just right, she signed her Valentine, Love, Violet. Maybe tomorrow their adventures would begin. On Valentine's Day, Violet woke to shimmering snow. On went her boots and lucky cowgirl hat, and under that hat went Violet's surprise. As Violet kicked through snow to school, Carlos asked, "Did everybody bring Valentines?" "I bet you made a special one for somebody," teased Jade. "Ew, did not," cried Carlos. "Violet, did you?" Violet blushed hot. "I gotta go." She darted through the wintry gust with her hat pulled low. Just then, Mira raced up like the wind. "Nice hat, Violet." Snow sparkled on Mira's eyelashes. Mira was magnificent. But what if Violet's Valentine wasn't? Suddenly, Violet's heart thundered like 100 galloping horses. She reached for her hat and thumpity, 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 bolted. All day long, Violet's stomach lurched. What if Violet couldn't give her Valentine? What if Mira didn't want her Valentine? What if they never adventured? "Time for Valentines," called Mr. York. Violet squeaked. Queasy and quivering, Violet delivered her Valentines, all but one. She looked left, she looked right, she lifted her hat, thumpity, thumpity, thump. "Did you give all your Valentines?" Mira asked, appearing out of nowhere. Violet jumped. She smacked right into Mira and tumbled into the coats. All around her, kids hooted and howled. Violet shrank into the tangle of scarves. She wanted to say sorry. She wanted to give Mira her Valentine. Instead, she scrambled away, hiding her eyes and her surprise under her hat. At recess, Violet made a lonely angel in the snow. How could she ever face Mira now? Then, laughter lassoed across the playground, a laugh like leaping horses, a laugh that warmed Violet down into her boots. Violet sprang up. Only one person had praised her hat. Only one hadn't laughed when she fell. Only one had ever asked her to play horses. Could it be Mira wanted to be her Valentine? "Mira!" cried Violet. "I have something for you." Violet flew through the snow. She scaled drifts, slid across ice. She even dodged a barrage of snowballs under the jungle gym. When the wind whooshed up Violet's hat and Mira's Valentine twirled down, down, down beneath stampeding feet. No! Mira raced like the wind. "Violet, what's wrong?" Violet sniffed. "This was for you, but it's ruined." "For me? Violet, it's so pretty." Mira tucked a torn bit into her cap. It glittered beside her hair. Then, with a shy smile, Mira reached into her pocket and pulled out a locket. "For you," said Mira. Inside was a violet. "Want to go on an adventure?" asked Violet. "Yes!" cried Mira, and they were off, galloping over snowy drifts to see what they might find together. The end.
My first crush was when I was 8 or 9 years old.
It's probably first grade.
I was about 5 or 6 years old and in first grade.
I was 9 the first time I had a crush on someone for real.
Preschool and kindergarten.
My first crush, or at least the first one I can remember, was on Sid Charisse when I saw her performing in Singing in the Rain.
Every day, Violet dreamed of astounding Mira with heroic feats and bringing her treasures and galloping off together on adventures.
I felt like I was made of glitter.
I remember feeling awe and a bit of confusion that someone that beautiful and graceful could be living on the same planet that I was living on.
I know that I, suddenly liked this person and wanted to hug them or something. And we never had a tradition of giving Valentines to one another because I grew up in Singapore. And so I never got to give this person a Valentine. But, if I had, I probably would.
I just remember, the thing I remember most about, we'll call him Brad to protect his innocence, was that I just always had this desire to be around him. We were a couple nerds who didn't like sports like all the other boys in our class did. We both liked Star Wars, and we just really got along. And he laughed at my jokes.
It felt like I was just boiling up with love every time she was near me. And the world felt softer and it felt safer.
It was a very nervous energy. Every time we were in the same room together, it just felt like there was electricity between us. I think my heart was always racing.
But whenever Mira came near, Violet went shy.
We were friends, and our whole class had to sit at one table during lunch, so we sat next to each other. One day, I accidentally asked him to marry me, and it was so embarrassing. Lots of kids at the lunch table laughed, and he was like, "What?"
Almost every detail in this story is inspired by something that I or people I know experienced when we were kids. From Violet's fantasy adventures to making a Valentine, the heart pounding whenever they walk in the room, also completely embarrassing yourself. Yes, that's real. That's also love.
Hi, my name is Charlene Chua. I'm the illustrator of Love, Violet, and I'm just here to talk to you a bit about the book today. It's a very special story about a girl that wants to give another girl a Valentine, and I felt like I would like to really be part of this book. Essentially, it's a story about love and having butterflies in your stomach and wondering what the other person thinks about you. And I wanted to bring that aspect of love across in the book.
I really wanted Love, Violet to capture all those big feelings of love, and winter was the perfect setting for me. It's so magical with all the glittery snow, the wind whooshing through. It's overwhelming, it's wonderful. You slip and fall. It's how love feels. Winter is like love.
This is a very early piece, so the test. So you can see that Violet and Mira don't really look the way they are in the actual book. But I kind of settled on this color palette of, it takes place in the winter. So a lot of white with, kind of sunset, sunrise skies, very washy and very loose and messy, which is actually something that's a little bit different from what I normally do.
I love this art. The colors are so warm and romantic, even though you also feel the gusts, the chill of the snow on your cheeks. The pictures really capture that intensity of new love and the uncertainty of it all. There's movement, a sort of whooshing that goes through every spread, and I really think it helps us to feel all of Violet's adventures, all the ups and the downs and the changing moods. And when everything suddenly goes still, wow, we feel it. This art is very emotional, and it's so beautiful.
I did want to bring across that aspect of looseness and things being like messy and organic, because that's how I think love is. It's not something that you're sure about, and it's not something that's set in stone, and it is messy. But in that mess, there is a lot of beauty that comes from happy mistakes. That's kind of my contribution to it.
To stay in the right mood to work on this story, which I did over a long period of time, I listened to the soundtrack of Shakespeare in Love over and over. And the music has this dramatic, pulsing heartbeat. Sometimes it's sweeping and wonderful, like falling in love, and sometimes it's stormy or timid, or it's forlorn and lonely when everything seems hopeless. It was just all the feelings in this book. It was so perfect. Only later did I realize that the music had actually slipped into the story. Every time Violet sees Mira, we hear her heart thumpity, thumpity, thumpity. That is the music of love.
I really wanted to channel my own feelings of love into the emotional look of the book, and so I actually made a playlist of music that that gets me rather emotional. But listening to that soundtrack over and over for the month or so that I worked on the final art painting for the book, did kind of put me into a strange emotional state. We tend to build walls to prevent ourselves from feeling the highs and lows of what we've experienced, and to constantly expose oneself or put oneself into a vulnerable position for a prolonged period of time. It does make it somewhat challenging, and I'm glad that I have a supportive spouse. I can say that the emotions that went into this book were quite genuine, and it's probably the most emotional book that I've worked on. So my favorite image in the book is actually this one. This is the original painting. It's not the final version that's in the book. But in this spread, Violet is walking up to school and she's wondering about how she can give Mira the Valentine.
The scene that has always felt the most personal for me is when Violet is about to give Mira her surprise. It's hidden in her hat.
She's kind of lost in her thoughts, and then Mira comes running up to her and is like, "Hi, Violet," and she's totally lost in her thoughts, or she's kind of caught off guard, and her expression is kind of in the middle of being happy to see Mira, but also kind of like, "Oh no, I'm not ready there." And I think we've all been caught in such situations where you're happy to see somebody, but you're not quite sure what to say or do in that moment. And I just like the interplay between the two girls.
Of all the moments, this was the hardest one to get right. It took me really years. I mean, how do you put how love feels into words? The amazement, the terror, the joy, everything all at once, the embarrassment. Just then, Mira raced up like the wind. Nice hat, Violet. Snow sparkled on Mira's eyelashes. Mira was magnificent. But what if Violet's Valentine wasn't? Suddenly, Violet's heart thundered like 100 galloping horses. She reached for her hat, and thumpity, thumpity, thumpity. That's how I felt when my Mira walked into the classroom. I'll never forget it. This story took a lot of drafts. Kind of like love. Sometimes we make a lot of mistakes and we have to keep working at it. When I started it, I was pretty new at writing picture books. And anything new takes longer and is usually messier. Think about learning how to read, how long it takes to sound out every word. That's kind of how writing Love, Violet was for me. But also, when I was little, I didn't get to talk about my crushes. I didn't get to really feel them. I hid how I felt, even from myself. So, as an adult, when I tried to write Violet's feelings, I kept leaving them out. So finally, I made a giant storyboard with a box for every spread, and next to my words and a little sketch, I put a sticky note, and I wrote down everything that Violet was thinking and feeling in that moment in the story. That practice of asking myself, okay, what's Violet feeling? What's she thinking here? That really helped me get what was locked inside of Violet and me out and into the story and into the world. For a long time, book publishers said kids didn't need books about crushes, especially not about a girl who has a crush on a girl. But that's who I was as a kid. But my agent and I kept sending Love Violet to more publishers, and they kept saying no. Finally, we stopped sending it out for several years. And that whole time, I just kept thinking about all the kids out there who needed a story like this one, just like I had. So I couldn't give up on Love Violet. Not yet.
I didn't know that being gay was an option really until I was 12. So looking back, I feel like I probably did have a lot of crushes on girls as a kid. But at the time, I certainly never put those into words. I think that if Love Violet had been out when I was a kid, I probably would have figured it out a lot sooner. Because I think I would have been more understanding about how I was feeling. It's hard to put into words how you feel when you don't have the words for it, or when you're told that's not an option.
I remember being attracted to people of my same gender way back when I was in early elementary school. Sometimes it was scary because I never saw any examples of other people who felt the same way that I did. If I had found a book like Love Violet, it would have made me feel a lot less alone and a lot less afraid.
I don't think I realized it when I was writing Love Violet, but the way Violet feels, how Violet is so afraid Mira won't like her, or maybe she isn't somehow good enough, that was kind of how I felt when I was worried people wouldn't like me because I like girls. When I was ready to talk about it, there were some people who were very upset, and that was hard, especially at first. But there were also people who loved me the same, maybe even more, for being honest with them. But the best thing was realizing that no matter what anybody else said or did, I was who I was supposed to be, and I was okay.
So I'm very proud to be part of Love Violet. From what I know, it's the first picture book to show two little girls in love. And to be honest, I don't know why it's taken this long. It being a first, I'm very happy to be part of it. I hope that it helps children to see that whether they're queer or BIPOC or featuring disabilities, that love is love.
You know what else happened? On a snowy, wintry day, I met someone in an adorable cap, and she made me homemade valentines, and we fell in love, and now we've been a family for a long time. I had no idea that was even possible way back when I had my first crush.
And that's why I wrote Love Violet. And now, after so many messy drafts, and so many no's, and 10 years, yes, 10 years of waiting, Love Violet is finally here. And now there is a story about the kinds of crushes so many of us had, and a story about Violet realizing that she is lovable just like you.
If I could tell my younger self anything about love, it would probably be not to be afraid of your feelings, that love is love, and you should learn how to dance.
The thing about telling people your feelings is you have to accept what might come back. It might be a negative answer. They might not like you the same way that you like them, and that's 100% fine. You need to be prepared to ask the question, but you also need to be prepared for the answer. I would tell my younger self to ask the question more often, because the risk is well worth it.
Don't rush yourself, but don't hide yourself. And don't hide from yourself.
I don't think a single day has ever gone by where I haven't wanted to go back in time and find my young self and just kind of give him a hug and say, you're going to get there. And when you do, you're going to love it. It's going to be amazing. You're going to find people who accept you. And the ones who don't matter. And they never will. But there's so much great about accepting yourself and something freeing in being able to love who you want.
It's okay to love whoever you love, and it's okay if who you love changes as you get older. It's also totally okay if you're not ready to share your feelings with others. It's really amazing when you can be your true self, because you are important and you matter.
If I could go back in time and talk to myself when I was young, I would say, David, it's going to be okay. You will grow up and you will be able to love whoever you want. And there will always be people who will support you and love you just the way that you are. Because that's exactly what happened.
If I could tell my young self anything, it would be the same thing that I would tell Violet, and that I would tell you.
You are lovable, exactly the way you are.
And if you dare to share your heart, even when it's pounding, you might just find a happy ending. Love, Violet, a Valentine for you. Learn more at charlotteswild.com. Here's to love.